Presenting one man's spoiler-free thoughts of Detective Pikachu.
That's alright, yeah.
We don't have a rating system, you're fine.
No.
But Dan might not be fine. Dan, what did you think of Detective Pikachu? Spoiler-free, spoiler-free.
So
Pressure.
it was fun, but a bit ridiculous. And it reminded me of the Batman, 1989.
Well, because there were balloons in it.
Yeah, and the Christmas idents from like 3 years ago that BBC did. Yeah,
That's your main takeaway.
yeah.
Fair enough. John. Against the wall. It made John ill. What were your thoughts? John is genuinely ill, boys and girls. So please feel bad for him as a man points a camera at him while he coughs. I'm a terrible person. But was it a terrible movie?
I don't know.
I'm talking to you.
I can't figure out whether it was just like fun and dumb or just like really convoluted. Just like there's a lot of info dumping and nonsense going on.
My main takeaway is if you've looked at the Sonic trailer and gone, that looks terrible, Detective Pikachu looks so much better. That is the movie I am expecting from Sonic the Hedgehog. So you have nothing to complain about.
Everything. He brings Sonic into everything.
That's true. I thought you were going to dramatically walk away down the road and just leave the vicinity.
More Jim Carrey.
Some good
More
twists.
Jim Carrey.
Some good twists, good twirls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a
agree.
couple of things that actually made me go, oh, that's cool, that's interesting.
Maybe one too many. There was a
Yeah.
plot revelation at one point that just made, which I think is meant to be like a serious moment. But
Yeah.
it just made me start giggling.
A lot of the drama felt very uneven in this.
Yes.
Justice Smith's a pretty fine actor, but there's a couple moments in this where... Have you seen that James Charles video of him doing a fake apology in the last couple of days on YouTube, the makeup guy, where he's sort of forcibly, obviously not crying, but pretending he's crying?
Oh, right.
There's a couple of dramatic moments in this where Justice Smith sort of looked like he was...
He's far more
Voting that way.
for his
Yeah.
comedy than he is for his serious.
I would say the
Yeah.
first two acts of the film were a lot of fun.
Yeah, the noir stuff was really entertaining.
Yeah, I was really enjoying the Detective Pikachu aspect of the film.
And how weirdly hardcore it was in some places. I mean, there's a bit where it injected John with a pathogen that made him unwell, which I thought was a bit sort of harsh, really. But you know, if it came as part of the Odeon Limitless package, fair enough.
Yeah.
And
Package I'm not even on.
I'd say even the third act got me sort of going, this is ridiculous, but not necessarily a bad. This is just like,
Yeah.
do you know what?
I think
what the hell?
The interesting thing about
do
it
whatever.
is that it's a stealth dumb movie.
yeah,
It's because
yeah.
you don't get that impression from much of the trailers. You just go, "Oh, it's Pikachu." And
This
you see
looks
that,
very
"Oh, it's
self-aware
Pikachu."
and sarcastic, and
But
then
the
it's
film
actually
itself is actually like,
it's a lot more ridiculous than that, really.
especially that third act.
Yeah. How do we feel about the Pokemon sort of integration into the world? Because this was famously, they keep talking about how this was shot on film, and they made that decision to not try to make them realistic like sort of many Instagram and DeviantArt accounts do and whatnot. They just decided to give them realistic sort of textures and scales
Put them in real life.
and fur and things like that, but sort of stick very close to the designs. As resident animators and effects people,
Yes, that's me.
as resident animators and effects people, what was your take on that in motion? Because in a trailer it's sort of novel, but seeing it for a full hour and 40
For
minutes.
the most part, it's pretty strong.
Yeah.
But there are shots.
Yeah, I think there's some shots where the frame rate almost seems to be somewhat different.
There was a few
for some
shots. It
bits.
felt like Pikachu just wasn't there. Some shots where I absolutely believed he was.
And
So
then,
it's
yeah.
just that kind of mix.
There's some interesting integration, although like after a while there's quite a lot, you notice quite a lot of people walking down the street and there's a little Pokemon next to them and the Pokemon just goes,
They gave up on putting it on shoulders.
yeah.
It's like just glancing upwards slightly. I'm definitely here, I promise.
Honest.
And the actor's been reminded to look down occasionally and go, "Come on."
Yeah,
Like it's a
I feel
dog.
like it feels like the ones that are like more furry based aren't too bad. It's the ones that are like.
Is this a
furry
sex
based-
thing? Is this a sex thing?
I know this is bad,
furries,
but the ones
yeah.
that look like rubber. Like,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Lickitung When it first appears.
Is that what
that's
it looks-
called?
Yeah, the one with the big tongue.
I had no
When it-
idea.
on the
Well,
one
one
on
of
the
two
train.
with a big tongue. There's
Yeah,
several
yes,
fetishes in
yes.
this film.
So like, because there's humans and there's Pokemon and there's also furries, like stealth furry.
Yeah.
It's a stealth
So
furry
if
movie.
you like snuck a couple of furries in there, like they'd notice.
Probably. I mean, here's my main takeaway of the effects stuff. Thank you, John, with your handy hands. I was saying to you guys, you see the trailers, and the trailers play really heavily on here's all the different Pokemon you remember from your childhood. And there's going to be loads of them in the film, and more of them are from that first generation on purpose because it hits the nostalgia sweet spot for a lot of people. But by the 25-minute mark, I think you've seen all of them that are going to be in the film. So for the rest of the movie, you're just watching the same CGI models interact a lot, and sometimes there's two of them in a scene, and sometimes there's one of them in a scene, and it's sort of that part of the theme park ride that is this movie just being a novelty thing to go watch and entertain yourself with wears out really quickly. So then it relies on its story to keep you captivated, and its story is really fun until it suddenly becomes, like you said, unnecessarily convoluted for a kids movie. It's just like, wait, what? Why is that the plot? Is that the plot? I don't understand. Yeah. Also, it's not a spoiler, he's in the trailers. Mewtwo looked terrible.
Oh, yes.
Like, in a
I want to
CGI
say-
movie, he'd look good, but interacting with real elements...
Again,
He definitely looks better than the Mewtwo in the upcoming Mewtwo Strikes Back remake.
yes.
Which is a fully CGI
But,
remake of the original movie.
People's problem with Sonic having human teeth. I spotted it right away.
Mewtwo's human teeth.
Yeah.
What about our human cast?
Oh, this is fairly good.
Bill Nye's inclusion is a weird, hilarious anomaly in itself from the moment he appears in the movie. Like, well, wait, Bill
Just hearing
Nye's in this?
Bill
He's
Nye
like the
saying,
first voice.
Pikachu, Pokemon.
It's Detective Goodman's Pikachu. You're like, sorry, Bill Nye. What? Could you just say that word again? Thing is, weird little side note about this. He's become a big fan since making the film.
What Pokemon?
He's been doing interviews as part of the press, and he's been saying, I started reading into it as part of my research, and was like, oh, this is fun, this is cute, and just watched some of the films and the cartoons and played the games, and he says, I like it. There's a warmth to it. And I think, jokes aside, there is something about this franchise that means a bunch of 20-somethings went to watch the film this afternoon.
The entire screening was basically 20-something.
Now I'm picturing
There
Bill
was like
Nye,
three
like on
kids,
a...
and they all left at a scary bit with the Greninjas. The
Yeah,
kids
there's a
left
lot
when
of
the
crying.
Greninjas came out. It was like, that's interesting. And they started running up the stairs, going, and Mum's going like, but it's Pokemon.
I missed that.
Yeah, that was funny. So they were freaking out. But like, so there is a heart and a warmth to this franchise that sort of, in the words of Detective Pikachu, puts a finger inside you, but touches your heart and not anything else. That joke was really close to the. There's a joke about a finger. Yeah, that's like, this is a Deadpool joke, surely, not a
It's just,
Pikachu
like,
joke.
quite surprising considering it's a franchise about animals fight each other, isn't it?
Well, they make a big thing in this of you know, without going into detail, like it not being about that here in the setting of the film. But you still get some Pokemon battles, and they are ridiculous. Yeah, it's fine. I think the best thing about it, in all honesty, is the dialogue, most of it, and the performance of the animators and voice of Ryan Reynolds doing the Detective Pikachu character. That seems to be the one sort of thing in it where it's like, okay, I can see why this film was greenlit and why this was the story you decided to do for the first live-action movie. I get it. That worked. And like you said, there were some shots where it's like, you don't quite believe he's there, but then others where he just overwhelms you with how fucking adorable he is, and you go, okay, fine, god damn it, Pikachu, you got me. So, I don't know what Matt's going to say in a moment, but I recommend it. Don't go in with high expectations.
No.
Go in with your nostalgia goggles on. It's not a bad film, but it is a complete misfire. Like, it's a competent misfire.
Yes.
It's a competent
That is
misfire.
a very nice way of putting it.
And I do recommend seeing it as soon as, if you're going to see it in the cinema, just so you can be surrounded by a weird audience that will make you go, yep, you're the same age as me. Yeah, you're definitely not here with kids. Like, there's 3 children in this screening.
There's the people in the row behind us who were like, at the end, they went, that was ridiculous. I had so much fun. It was ridiculous.
I think
That
that
summed
sums
it
it up. It was ridiculous. We had so much fun. It was ridiculous. And it killed John! Oh, now it's my turn to talk about Detective Pikachu. Oh,
Detective Pikachu, Pokemon Detective Pikachu, the long-awaited first live-action movie in the Pokemon franchise. That was a cat attack, and that's what happens when cats attack. I was super excited to see this movie. Not as excited as my cats were to start fighting, and I was not disappointed. This was a movie I would have loved if it came out when I was like 11, when Pokemon first hit the scene. And it's also a movie I still love. 31. It's funny and charming and colourful and not terribly original, but in a way that doesn't really, it's done so well it doesn't really matter. These cats are going crazy again. Pokemon fights in this house, folks. It was joyful to see Pokemon, which is such a colourful and wholesome franchise, come to life on the big screen in such a loving way. Like, it's clearly something that was made by people who actually cared about the property and wanted to do it well and have it make sense. And I thank Arceus. That was a nice shout out in the movie, by the way. That it was done as its own thing in its own world, rather than what it looks like we're getting later in the year with Sonic the Hedgehog and what so many other sort of adaptations of either cartoon or video game properties have been, which is, they're coming to our world. This thing is, the Smurfs are coming to our world. Sonic's coming to our world, and all that garbage. Because I feel that's the easy way out. That's the easy route to go, and they didn't do that. This is a fully realised and thought out world where Pokemon exist and always have existed. Just like the world of the games and the anime and the manga, etc., etc., etc. And I think, as other people have said in their reviews, Pokemon benefits from being a franchise that has always sort of been a multimedia franchise. Although originally envisioned as a game, like the anime and manga and spin-off games and trading card game and everything has always been it's been there for so long, and it's been such a big part of the franchise as a whole, that if anything, it's quite a smooth transition, because they've already been doing it. Like, how many Pokemon animated movies have there been? Like 15, 16 at this point, something stupid like that. A few. There's been a few, is the answer. So, it's kind of got an advantage in that respect, but even so, like, this is all, apart from being an adaptation of a video game franchise, this is also an adaptation of a specific game within that franchise, and I have not played the Detective Pikachu game, so I cannot speak as to the veracity of its adaptation, but this feels like the Pokemon world, and so I guess that's close enough in terms of adaptation. It's great. It's just really good, and I had a hell of a time, and I was smiling and I laughed a lot, and it made me feel nice inside. And that's kind of all I have to say about it without spoiling it. Not that there's a great deal to spoil. If you've seen the trailers, you pretty much know how this movie's going to go, and that's fine. Like I say, it's not necessarily very original outside of its Pokemon trappings, but it is very, very well done, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So what more is there to say? Well, we can go into spoilers, but we're not going to do that here. Me and Chris are going to do that on the next Big Damn Cast. So as per usual, if you have thoughts, then send your tweets to @BigDamnCast on Twitter. Send your emails to bigdamncontact@gmail.com. Let us know what you thought of Pokemon Detective Pikachu. And yeah, me and Chris will get into deep spoiler stuff on the next Big Damn Cast. So, yeah, we'll see you then. Or you'll hear us then. And we'll talk about all the Pokemon that were in this movie because there's so many and I was so happy and they all look so cute. It's so good. It was so good. I enjoyed the hell out of it. This movie's gonna make like $1 billion. It's gonna be huge. Get ready for a Pokemon movie every year for the next ever.